So it is Monday night or Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever you're listening to this, and we just got off of a pay-per-view last night for Survivor Series, and this is now our talk about Monday Night Raw. So we're going to find out what happened tonight. We're going to talk about it. This is the culmination of the weekend in Toronto, and we're going to talk about all the craziness that went down on Raw tonight. So before we get started, as always, we have to introduce everyone on the panel. So first off, we have Travis, who obviously wasn't prepared to go first.
I wasn't. You never make me go first.
Guess what?
That's what she said.
Oh.
Oh, Lord. It's going to be one of those nights. Hello, everyone.
We have Ashley.
Hello, everybody.
And bringing us another dashboard confessional, great Traveling Scott.
Of course, my service just decides to tank at that point. Yay, go me.
Where are you right now?
Greetings from Northern Indiana. Woo-hoo!
That's cool. I didn't even really have to ask. It just kind of was given the answer that I wanted.
It's funny because most of these you're going to hear me from Indiana, Ohio, or Pennsylvania. But I am on my way home for Turkey Day. Gobble, gobble.
Nice. On Thanksgiving, I will be enjoying a nice day of time and a half. And probably a bunch of wrestling catch up.
Yeah, I'll just be waiting till Friday for the Black Friday deals because they don't do it at midnight now because they have the fights like they do. So.
Oh yeah, the video you put up on Twitter that.
Yeah, it hasn't happened since because everybody shits again because bad publicity.
Right.
Whereas if it happens in America, and that's more publicity, so it's completely the opposite. It's like it's the American way. But I'm hoping to get a few things. There's already some rumored deals that are pretty freaking ridiculous. Coming in till Friday.
Well, we're in Portuguese tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, in tribute to being in Portuguese tonight, Ashley, are you going to buy anything on Target's website?
Okay, now that that's done.
So,
Target. I could buy stuff from Staples. That'd be interesting.
There you go. So let's start off with the beginning of the show. I'm going to guess before we get started that everyone was able to watch the whole show tonight.
Yes.
I know for a fact Travis did.
Unfortunately.
I know for a fact Ashley did, for the most part.
I've got to do the recaps.
Scott, did you watch everything?
So.
Okay. Go ahead, Ashley. Kick us off.
Goldberg's door opens with everybody going, "What the fuck?" Oh wait, that was last night. Sorry.
Yes.
Goldberg makes his way out, as Michael Cole once again reminds us, 86 seconds. Bill starts off thanking the fans for giving him the chance to be Goldberg again and earn a piece of the limelight. As if it was back in the good old, which to some respect, that he sort of does. Thanks his wife for sticking him through the thick and thin of the last 6 or 7 weeks of training. Apparently gave him a desire to be a superhero. And then when he saw his son do the dab, he wanted Dear God. Then says, look, I came. That's all good things. Happened backstage. But managed to do, you know, more match in you. You know, you did one more spear, well, two exactly, and one more jackhammer. But Bill, have you got one more title run left in you? Crowd going ape. I think. And she went, well, road to glory begins at the Royal Rumble. So, come San Antonio, it's going to be everyone's next. Information, Goldberg is one number of participants in the Royal Rumble. Whether it will be 30, whether it will be 40. But he's in. And thinking keep him for the big marquee events. It's a draw because clearly they want San Antonio. 10 years on from Rumble, which was historic in itself. So it'll be interesting. And all of a sudden, the stuff that happened last night makes sense.
Right, of course.
I think we're all going, what? And that despite the fact he's such as usual, because the way the WWE makes special, one more mouth into a handful. And you know what? It'd be good to see. It's actually roll Brock to cause interference and one, ultimate WrestleMania or whatever. And should be an interesting one because Goldberg's going to when, not who's next, but when.
I think basically what we're setting up at this point is the person that causes Goldberg's elimination from the Rumble is going to end up being his WrestleMania opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, but it's also a distraction too to keep you, because with going into the Royal Rumble, now everybody's gonna figure Goldberg's gonna win. And whoever has the title at that time, that's who Goldberg's going to probably face at WrestleMania. That's like the majority of the audience, but us marks already know what's coming. You could clearly see it later in the show of how they're destroying Sami Zayn and how they're gonna bring him up. You're gonna watch the rise of Sami Zayn, and it's almost similar to Daniel Bryan's rise, but it's not really, of course, but you're gonna see, Sammy is the ultimate underdog. Just keep rising.
All these things we have been talking about here on the network for over 2 years now. Finally going to happen. And it's about time. So we move from Goldberg's promo to actually quick mentioning of the New Day being able to eclipse Demolition's record in 23 days. So they're going to still be champions for 23 days. And for some reason, I don't know why, but Big E ended up calling Cesaro Shazaro.
It's going to be a tie, it seems to be implied. Every week.
Well, I think it was just. Oh, sorry.
They're adamant that they want it or something. So yeah, basically make fun of of how the belts are 478 days or some variant of the tag titles. In 23 days, the record will be demolished, which gets booed by the crowd because, Jesus. And, they got the night. We find out later that there's match to decide who will take them on next week because, spoilers, but the thing that's worth mentioning is with New Day.
I mean, we have been building up the New Day being the ones to take Demolition's record for the longest time. And I think what we're getting towards now is every single week they're going to put a different opposition in their path, leading to when they finally drop the titles. It seems to make the most sense, honestly, from a lot of perspectives. So we get our first match of the night. The New Day defending the WWE Tag Team Championships against Cesaro and Sheamus. Solid match, no surprise here. A lot of great stuff in this match. We get to the end. Trouble in Paradise is countered, and the swing from Cesaro locks on the sharpshooter. And while this is happening, Big E tries to get in and interfere. Sheamus brogue kicks Big E on the outside. Kofi's gonna tap out. Xavier Woods comes in and blows the trombone, and this distracts Cesaro long enough. Ooh. So basically, it's an inside cradle, and champions retain. It was fine. It was a good match. I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, I wish there could have been more to it, but I guess in the situation, you really couldn't do much more. Technically, if you really want to think about it, Kofi did tap out, but the referee was distracted because of the Francesca. So that's the reason why we don't have new tag team champions. So I think they're going to play into that once again, they didn't win, but they got close again to the point that maybe third time's going to be the charm.
And I think you're going to see this happen on every tag match going up until the record's broken. Saying that they can be beaten
Exactly.
at the right time, and then somebody's got to take Xavier out. So once Xavier's out of the question, not to distract, I think you see the champions drop the belts. But we all know that's not going to happen until after the records broke.
See, there's somebody that comes to mind immediately, but the only problem is this would be a dream world because this person cannot even do anything involved because of circumstances beyond his control and the current NXT champion. So, I mean, in a perfect world, the person that would neutralize, pun not intended, Xavier Woods would be Tyson Kidd.
Right.
But they can't do that, and I understand that. So they're going to have to find something that they can do to make it work.
Speaking of Tyson Kidd, is he still on the shelf or is he actually back in the ring?
He'll most likely never get in the ring again.
Oh, man, Joe's got to feel so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
But, it's part of wrestling. I mean, one will slip, that's what happens. But
Exactly.
we've seen that happen on many, many different wrestlers. So
solid match, good finish. Nobody looks weak. I like that. That worked really well. And technically, Kofi tapped out. So even though the referee didn't see it, it still happened. So they still have a case to why they should have another shot. So, Ashley, your thoughts on the opening match? We're having a lot of technical difficulties tonight, guys. My apologies for that.
I'm here.
I've noticed that. I noticed most of us are not having clear connections, so my apologies for that.
I'm better now. I mean, I wasn't before, but I had to drop out quick and reset and then come back.
Right. Travis, what you would like to give thoughts on this match?
Oh, the New Day. They are so stale. They're more stale than their cereal upstairs. And that's totally a joke because their cereal doesn't expire till next year.
Not judging gimmicks, judging the match itself. What were your thoughts on it?
The match was okay. It's just their gimmick really just tires me the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it makes me not want to watch any of their matches anymore.
Ashley, you back yet? Okay, I'll take that as a no.
That really is in trouble right now is the reason why New Day have right now is because of the whole what's the word the fact that there's an expiry day
on course.
Not to do the happened, but we that in 23 they beat the record. So when we get beyond that 23 days, I expect them to lose the titles.
Of course.
But the fact of the matter is, because via heelish shenanigans, it's hurting them even more because then it's like, ever since that, or the match at Hell in a Cell, I should say, where they did heelish tactics of retaining against Sheamus and Cesaro, even though you could say it was a bit of Sheamus rather than rather than just Kofi and whatever in that match.
Right.
It still seems a bit odd that they're doing all this stuff. Considering they're against Anderson and Gallows next week, if they do heelish stuff against them, there is really going to be some sort of continuity snafu, I would argue.
I can see
Which
that.
will, I still want them to be champions, but they now have the specter, even though they're not dead, or not dead entirely, the specter of Demolition's title reign is now hanging over this stable. And it won't be exercised until they lose the belts, whether they get to the record or not.
Makes sense. So we move on to Chris Jericho in the back with Ashley's favorite person on the face of planet Earth.
Forgot about me.
Thought you gave your thoughts already.
Oh, kind of. I wanted to add a little something else to it. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick. But it always is curious to me whenever the announced team or even the champion brings up their title reign and their number of days they've held, because usually that's doom.
Exactly.
So I think everybody sees New Day losing the titles. Maybe they don't get the record, but at this point, why not just give it to them?
It's gonna happen. It's too close.
They're in a court
Right.
of demolition.
And then, afterwards, I don't know what's going to happen. I think New Day's better at chasing, because they did really well chasing before this second reign.
Right.
So, I mean, they need to, freshen the act up, but, they're selling so much merchandise, and I don't think they're ever going to get disbanded.
No.
So, it's going to be at least another year or two. But I think on their third title reign, whenever that happens, probably around WrestleMania and or later, I don't think it's going to be that, that well of a run, per se.
Right.
But it's good that New Day's held the titles for that long, because now the tag team titles mean something. I wish they would do that with other titles. Well, but they're doing it with the IC with Miz, and he's just phenomenal. But
well, here's the issue, though. It's just like the same problem we have with DIY and winning the NXT tag titles on Saturday night. You have a brilliant division, which is only made up of a couple of teams that actually matter, and everybody else is just cannon fodder. They haven't successfully built everybody up like they should.
Plus, guess who weighs 205 pounds?
My correct answer would probably be Enzo.
Xavier.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, of course.
So there's the possibility for him to, if they were to split up as a team, you could put him into the cruiserweight stuff. Considering all his successes in that brand, which must not be named because fuck you, Dixie. Given the X division, I think he could do a lot to help up the cruiserweights.
Oh, I agree with that. That would be pretty phenomenal to watch Xavier and or Kofi, because Kofi's under 205, isn't he?
He's
got to be.
He's a smidgen over.
He could cut weight if he really had to.
He's 112.
Yeah.
But of course, most of these numbers are made up anyway, so you could probably say,
True.
He's 205.
And Big E, his pecs are heavier than 205.
Exactly.
But Big E would be a perfect foil for Rusev if he was to become champ again.
Yes, that is true.
Or any other heel. Or Roman. Wee! See what it did there.
Oh boy.
They could really, I mean, like they did with the Shield, once they drop the tag titles, I mean, they could regain them, and then, either Kofi or Xavier can get the cruiserweight and or IC or US title, and they can have a bunch of gold on them, because Big E is material, but I don't think they'd ever put it on him.
I mean, I guess it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. I mean, the New Day are not going to go anywhere anytime soon, and they're not going to split them up, so they're going to have to freshen them up a little bit, like we were talking about. The problem is, how do you do that at this point? Take the titles off of them, of course, but you still have a while before you can do that.
Okay.
Right.
I just remember what's next.
Yes.
So, Christ, I thought Dixie's promos and Mike's speaking skills were wooden. You ain't seen Caruso, the great Caruso. Da, 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 da. Bloody hell. So Jericho's backstage and she basically asks him, what went wrong last night. He says, we'll find that out in just a moment. There's going to be an autopsy of what went wrong on the highlight reel later tonight. I didn't approve of my list being used as a weapon and being strewn about. And I know who's to blame. And then he walks off. It's like, ooh, that's interesting. And Enzo's banging at the locker room door because apparently his clothes have gone missing. So we see him walking naked.
He was locked out, but close enough.
His what do you call it? Certified G is pixelated. Out. I doubt he's actually naked. Then again, he could be. I doubt it, just in case somebody cocked up on the pixelating. Kevin Dunn. So he goes around and then somehow bumps into Lana, who's appalled, really greatly offended. And yeah, that happened.
Why did this happen?
It's a family show, though. Remember, let's take scenes from. I'm trying to think. What have we seen that in? As some sort of variant of some other family-friendly things where it's been pixelated out or something or whatever. Whatever, it was a rib on Watch Dogs 2 with bloody, women and men's genitalia all about in that game. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think anybody is that intelligent in the stuff. I think they just steal ideas off the podcasts. We'll get to that. So then we get a bit with Foley and Stephanie celebrating backstage. The fact that they got 3 out of 5 wins last night. Okay, they lost the IC title and they lost the men's match, but they won the tag one, they won the women's one, and the cruiserweight stayed on Raw. So overall, it's more positive than they. Stephanie managed to get Goldberg for the Royal Rumble. Big thing. And then Sammy comes in and Mick's like, you were unlucky last night with what happened with Miz, but you have to be punished. So we're putting you in a match with Braun Strowman. It's like, okay, so you're openly acknowledging the fact that it's from the Miz. So you punish. Right? I don't get it. And then we got cruiserweight action. So the first rolls of purple tape were used and wasted for Arai Daivari versus Cedric Alexander.
Short, really short, very one-sided. So Daivari gets on the mic before the match starts, and he basically says Canadians are no different than Americans. The match actually gets underway. Heat on Cedric for a while until he charges in. He eats a back elbow, ducks a clothesline, and a round kick off the ropes. Cedric with a springboard clothesline sets up the finish. Daivari escapes the first time, ducks his clothesline, and nails him with a lumbar check, and that's the end of that. Not much to it. I'm telling you, I don't think WWE sufficiently know how to book the Cruiserweight division. I really don't. And the crowd were just kind of sitting on their hands. I don't know how the general public take to Cruiserweight wrestling in 2016. Which is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it was okay for what it was. Daivari's going to end up being JTTS, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But, I mean, it's good that he got a contract out of it. I mean, I wish they could bring Sean back so we could, like, do a tag team with him. That'd be good, but, I guess not. I like Cedric. I always have, but I don't think WWE knows what to do with him. It's clear they don't know what to do with him. Travis?
Maybe. Well, even. Oh, you can't put him in the New Day. Here's what I was thinking. I was actually thinking this yesterday. Big E gets the Universal Championship. You brought with Survivor Series, brought the IC title over, and you give either Kofi or Xavier the IC title. And then you give Kofi or Xavier the US title. And then Cedric Alexander comes up with, well, Rich Swann can be this now too. We'll get to that later. Can go up and say, hey, I want to join the New Day with the Cruiserweight Championship. Bring more gold to the New Day. And then who pops in with the Women's Championship? Sasha Banks.
No.
You have one stable.
Culmination 2.0.
Exactly.
There is no reason whatsoever. I can hear myself. No reason whatsoever for the New Day to get all the gold, especially after you contradicted yourself by saying that they need, well, as Scott said this too, they need to chase.
They do need to chase, but they're not chasing anytime soon, so might as well give them all the gold.
No, not a good idea. There are people that need the gold to get over. The New Day are definitely not that. They're getting over the legitimacy of the tag team division and the tag team titles. I get that. But if you take another title and put it on a member of the New Day, it is not devaluing the championship, but it's not giving someone else a chance to shine. that could probably use the title to get over. Some people need titles to be over. And right now, there's a lot of people that need to have championships way before the New Day. Would I like to see Xavier get a singles championship? Absolutely. Do I think he has cruiserweight gold in his future? I can see it. But the time isn't now. So in the time being, just focus on them having the tag belts. You don't want to oversaturate the New Day by bringing other people in. Basically, what you sounded like you were trying to do is turning either Rich Swann or Cedric Alexander into what Percy Watson was. And we don't need that. So the New Day works best as a 3-person stable, and that's all it needs to be. They don't need to bring anybody else in, male or female. Because what happened to the NWO, Travis? There's too many people, and it got old fast. The New Day's already old to you with 3 guys. Could you imagine if they added more?
Yeah.
Just my thoughts, though. I mean,
But
maybe more people would freshen the act up a bit. That's a possibility, too, but it's a catch-22. You don't know which direction it's really going to
go. If they thought about this and they're like, okay, New Day, you guys are going to beat Demolition's record, but we're going to add 2 people whenever this whole cruiserweight thing happens.
I've just realized that's how I've just realized the perfect way to kill off New Day. Have the 4th member be Dana Brooke and she blacks up.
go. Oh, God.
That would kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I certainly would kill the New Day. I agree with that one.
Yeah, about 15 birds with 1 stone, to be quite honest.
Oh, God. Ashley, you want to...
That's probably an idea that went through his head at some point.
Oh, it's sad but true, but yeah. Ashley, you want to give any thoughts on this match?
Yeah, good match. Crowd were never going to be into it because nobody gives a shit about this division.
Nope. It's the Divas division now, basically.
They, later on, which they sort of were interested in, but still, if they think it's going to be any better on 205 Live, it ain't.
Right. And Scott, thoughts?
I thought it was, yeah, it was like everyone else. I can't get behind him. I mean, Daivari confused the hell out of me. I had to search him up. I was like, is that the Daivari I know? No. And then I had Hassan's music play in my head.
God, I miss Hassan.
Oh, I do too. He got the most heat out of everyone every time.
Oh, yeah.
More heat than Vicky Guerrero.
Easily,
yeah. So,
it helped that the bloody London bombings happened at the same time.
Yeah, that kind of killed it completely.
Yeah, it was 9/11, and then they brought him in. I think a few months later, and then the London bombings killed him.
They had guys in ski masks attack the Undertaker and choke him with piano wire.
Jeez.
Dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
Hey, kid.
So, the match was all right. I mean, and then they finally confirmed the exact time of the 205 show, because I've seen 7/8 Central or 8/7 Central, and then I've also seen it at 10. Now it's 10 o'clock. So right after SmackDown. So I'm like, okay, get your times right. Jeez. So now for that poor audience that's going to be sitting there watching it next week, watching SmackDown, they got to wait now a bonus hour of 205 to, after being worn out throughout the whole night, to sit there and watch. Um, unless they're going to pre-tape it
At the start of the show, whether we're going to get them
beforehand and then just air it after.
and most people are going, we don't want to fucking stay here for an additional hour.
Right.
Right. But yeah, as far as the Chris
What the
Jericho
fuck are they going
promo,
to do?
sit on their hands and get another beer.
I'm pretty sure. Aren't they recording a SmackDown like over the Christmas New Year period?
That's usually how they do things.
So how do they fit that in? If 205 Live's happening,
God, who knows?
Depending on the day, they'll probably still air it live. It all depends on how they're gonna if 205 is gonna be before or after SmackDown. I mean, if it's gonna be taped beforehand, then they can air it live at 10 o'clock. Or if they're gonna live, then after the SmackDown taping. So I mean, it could go either way. I mean, so I don't know. But the Jericho like that beginning promo leading into the highlight reel that was about to come. I was waiting for this because I missed the pre-show last night with Jericho and Owens, and I totally wanted to see what was going to happen because I had a feeling Owens was going to show up. So we'll get more into that, but yeah, it was hilarious. And then the Enzo bit, it looked like to me that Lana couldn't keep her eyes off of Enzo's little G.
and don't.
So, big bump. So yeah, that's my comments on that segment.
All right. Let's go into the highlight reel, Ashley.
So welcomes everyone. He's going to analyze what went wrong. But then Kevin Owens' music hits, and Kevin's like, "Look, I know who's to blame for what happened last night." And he goes, "Can I borrow the Geratron 5000, by the way, Chris?" And Chris is like, "It's the Geratron 6500, actually." And it's like, "What, you upgraded, Chris?
You saw me purchase it.
You were there when it was upgraded?" And then Kevin goes, "Hang on, how does it do this? Muggy's in the truck. Go to the first pitch." This first image, Jericho, you're about to get a Styles Clash. Monkeys, next picture. Look, next shot, there's me making the save. You know, with the list because I'm your best friend. And Jericho's like, and wouldn't have used the most precious of possessions in the list. And Kevin goes, "Who cares about the damn list?" And he's like, whoa. Jericho says, "I care, Kevin. I care. I'm concerned about it." And Kevin, goes, "Think about it. Truth, proof that we're true myself. I used the list to save you. I got DQ'd and got thrown out of the match. Only next shot for Randy Orton to RKO you, putting all my efforts to waste. It was a waste. I shouldn't have saved you." And Jericho's just snapped, and he's like, "This conversation, and so might be our friendship." And then they get in each other's faces, like, "You want to know who's to blame?" What? Oh, I know who's to blame. You want to, I tell you who's to blame. And then they both say, "Roman Reigns," and the crowd just like, "Yes!" But and there's a hug and everything. Roman didn't help either of us. It was both their fault. Seth's music then hits, and he comes out saying, and one of which was he wants it tonight, and Kevin's like, "Oh, I'll go. I can go speak with her to stop it all." Like, stupid idiot. And Seth's willing to go through both of them in order to get to get the belt or his belt back or whatever, even though it's a belt he never had. I guess it's the whole representation of being a champion, whatever. So Seth attacks them, and then Roman's music hits, and Roman makes a save. And they stand tall in the ring, and then Foley appears on the stage himself and says, "Kevin, you're defending that Universal title against Seth Rollins tonight. But there's going to be a few little tweaks here and there. One, Jericho and Reigns. The match will be a no disqualification match. And it's happening tonight, right here, Toronto, Ontario, Canada." And you know what the best thing was? That's the last we saw of Roman Reigns.
I think personally, this has got to be Jericho's best highlight reel in a long time, because you could sense that. Okay, you knew Kevin Owens was going to come out because he was the perpetrator that did use the list. I mean, Jericho's life's workout all over the ring just to save Jericho's ass. You knew that was going to come. At least I did. I was like, oh, this has got to be a Kevin Owens moment. But then the tension between them two, it was like, oh, is this it? Is this going to be the end of KO and Y2J? Y2KJ? I don't know. KOJ?
Jericho.
Jericho, I think is.
Oh, okay, Jericho. That makes more sense. I was like, is this it? And then it boiled down to Roman Reigns was the one that was at fault, and I literally laughed my ass off and just had a riot. I was just like, it's gold right there. And then with Jericho and KO sitting there when Seth came out, just even made it better. And then once Roman Reigns' music hit, everybody just. I think they caused a little bit of air disturbance in the arena with all the boos. So I thought it was just great.
But you can't touch Jericho right now because he's unbreakable. He's bulletproof right now. He's delivering some of the best promos of recent memory, probably his best promos in definite years. And this list gimmick is making it even more difficult to get him over as a heel.
But it's gold, though. I mean, he's reinvented himself, and he's done this many of times. With this last run, which I didn't even think it was going to last this long, is really becoming like a staple of the shows. So, Everybody's waiting for the stupid idiot. Now it's the list, and I mean, it was over for a while.
Right.
I mean, he's so smart and so clever on getting his stuff over, and it works.
It
So,
always worked, though.
and I like how he brought it up during the match last night with the Survivor Series match when he was against Dean Ambrose because Dean destroyed his jacket, his light up jacket.
Yep.
Jericho, you destroyed my $15,000 jacket. Like you could hear it clear as day. I was like, awesome. Who picked that up?
Yeah, but last night he had a much better jacket than that light up one.
True.
He had a brown jacket that turned black.
So, I believe we are moving on now.
Yeah,
We're still
Lana.
doing promos.
Lana's in the ring and says, now people of America. So, yeah.
North America. She could have easily said that,
Okay.
but she didn't. So she said America.
And she knew it too. And she just looks at the crowd, just like goes like, whatever. I don't get why she doesn't just say the country.
But clearly now that's becoming sort of the gimmick.
Right.
True.
Because she fucked up. We're going to adapt it into various things.
Which you can see Vince is behind it, pulling the strings, going like, you humiliated yourself in England of all places, or Scotland. Now,
Like,
now you're going to do it all the time.
People of South Carolina and whatever. I can't remember where Roadblock's supposed to be. Philly, isn't it?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Console Energy
She'll
Center.
probably say people of Iceberg. She'll probably say people of Iceberg. And then we get to the Royal Rumble. It'll be people of San Cesaro. And then everyone will go, why did she say that? And they forget, that Cesaro once had a first name. I just think that's going to be a thing. But then Enzo comes out with Cass and says, he and Lana could have had some fun. And, if he wanted to see him naked, all she had to do was your phones like all you Russians like to do. And then Cass, of course, goes, we know why Rusev was angry. Because when he's naked, there's only one way to describe him. I won't even say the letters because, this is the idea that. Because if you remember last week, we didn't actually talk about it. But the John Bones Jones, the test that he failed for with the drugs test, UFC 200, was because he'd taken a male enhancement pill.
Oh, wow.
Sort of Viagra sort of thing. And on Dave and Brian's podcast thing, Brian's like, what's going on? And Dave went, well, I can think of one word to describe that. And Brian went, what is it? And Dave was like, out? And Brian didn't Brian got it after about 30 seconds.
God.
So they literally took that whole concept and put it into this mini angle, which, considering the payoff was a squash match, don't think it was worth it.
Yep.
I would argue.
Yeah. Not much to this. Sheer definition of a squash match. Enzo got beat up pretty bad. And Rusev ended up tapping him out with the accolade in rather quick fashion. Cass runs in after the match is over, and Rusev powders. Literally nothing to this.
It happened.
Yeah, I kind of wish it did not. So we progress.
For once, it's not me talking because the next thing we had was the number one contenders tag match with Golden Truth taking on British Columbia.
Yeah, nothing. Jeez, God, this is bad. First off, can someone tell me what the running bulldog is now? Because what Goldust did to Carl Anderson did not, in any way, shape, or form, resemble a bulldog. It looked bad. Nothing to this match. Goldust hits a flying body press on to the Good Brothers. Anderson eats the snap power slam, and Gallows breaks up the pin. Truth clotheslines Gallows. They do cactus clothesline over the top, and Anderson eats the boot. Gallows sends Truth into the ring apron. Goldust up top. Gallows is a distraction. This allows Anderson to knock Goldust off the top. Tag in Gallows, Magic Killer, 1, 2, 3. Thank God they didn't go with Goldust and Truth winning this. Good Brothers against the New Day next week, as it should be. Putting more obstacles in their path to unseating Demolition. Which, honestly, at this point, I would bring Demolition in. Maybe have Demolition in the New Day's corner the night that they're going to break the record.
Considering a legal case, less likely. Not likely.
Yeah.
Just yet.
That's probably why they want them to break the record so they don't ever have to mention them again.
Exactly.
Just speculation, though. Scott, thoughts?
I stopped to get a bite to eat and some drinks during Rusev's match and this match, so I didn't catch either of them. It's probably a good thing.
You missed nothing, Scott. Nothing.
Good point. You know, that would be the pee break time.
If you had a dime for every important thing that happened while you were getting stuff to eat, you would have 0 dime.
Yes.
Good, because I spent like 150 of them getting food and drink.
Oh, God.
No joke. Shit's expensive in a truck stop.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
I spend upwards about $200 a week on food and drink in the truck stop. That's half of what most people make in a freaking 2 weeks. It's pretty sad.
All right. Ashley, any quick thoughts before we move on?
I sort of said it earlier, but it'll be interesting to see how New Day cope with the British Columbia Club next week, and how it's written for them.
Sounds
I
good.
fear it's going to be the usual shit. Speaking of usual shit, I don't even need to keep talking because Owen can go again.
Yeah, I am.
It's this thing. The best thing I could describe it is what was it? Apollo Creed versus Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, tonight.
Well, we've been championing the idea for Sami Zayn to be the next Daniel Bryan, and I've been saying this for the longest time. We have made it perfectly clear that's the direction that this needs to go. If you want a sympathetic babyface, Sami Zayn is your man, and that's always been the case. And if you want to get over someone like Braun Strowman, this is exactly the way to do it. This makes him look like a monster. This makes him look like he has no remorse. This makes him look credible. Even though he almost killed 2 guys last night, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that remains that he looks more credible as a monster now. And he literally beat the living daylights out of Sami Zayn. And Mick Foley is the one that actually stopped it, which is interesting because that usually doesn't happen. If Foley was showing some remorse himself, he's like, you know what? He's had enough. Let's just end this. I'm telling you, it's just the seeds are now planted.
Fuck that
the
shit. He's
now
out for the count.
Exactly.
That's what that is.
Seeds have been planted, ladies and gentlemen. Sami Zayn is your winner of the 2016 Royal Rumble.
What?
When I mean 2016, obviously we're talking about 2017, but still, I was looking at my calendar. It's the reason why I said that. I mean, you're really building sympathy for Sami Zayn, and a beating like this, just like a sheer destruction, is a way.
I'd have preferred Sami Zayn winning the 2016 Royal Rumble over Triple H.
Yeah, everybody would have, but still, at least it wasn't Roman. But yeah, this worked really well actually. It's not a great wrestling match. It wasn't a good fight. It wasn't a good one-sided squash. It was exactly what it needed to be. And if you want to build any heat for Braun Strowman, this is exactly how you do it. Scott?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I said this earlier in the show that you could see the direction of the storytelling going that way. That you're making Sammy into this. You're building sympathy for him. Like
Right.
he's going to continue to get destroyed. He might continue to get destroyed by Braun for the next few weeks until he conquers Braun at Roadblock or something. So, and then that just leads momentum to Royal Rumble, or you just keep on getting him destroyed until the Royal Rumble, where he just comes out of nowhere and stays in it as the number 3 guy. Where he's he's got a fighting chance and he's gonna win it all.
Let's hope so.
Right. So, I mean, I think it would be it's a great story arc. It worked very well with Bryan, even though they kept on screwing it up in the beginning until they finally got it off, and it worked really well. But I don't think it's going to be a straight one-on-one match. Now, who is he going to face? I don't know. It'd be great to see him and Kevin Owens go at it.
WrestleMania.
because that is the full circle of the storyline.
You know it.
So, the destruction of Kevin and Jericho's.
Looking at the wrong brand.
I don't think he's going to go after a SmackDown title. If Owen has the title at that time, he's going to go for Owen.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you're going to see Jericho's and Owens' friendship fall apart, and then it's going to, cultivate into Owens losing his most prized possession, and that's the title. And then everyone's just going to cheer. 70,000 plus people is going to be insane to listen, chant, Ole. I mean,
it's going to be
it's going to be great.
It's going to be a great building to be in. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and then it ties back to NXT too, so it makes it even better. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you can already see the cards starting to drop, and it's great to watch unfold.
Indeed. Ashley? Ashley.
So then we had Charlotte and Dana make their way out. Made fun of how she attacked Bayley last night, saying she'd watch it over and over again on the network. With respect, I don't think people will be watching that. I'll be watching 86 seconds. But now that Survivor Series out the way, she's above everybody. Then Sasha comes out and says, "Yeah, Team Raw is over. Unity is done. So I want my women's title match tonight." And Charlotte says, "All right, you've got your rematch. Only it won't be tonight. Which just so happens to be in Charlotte, North Carolina." I proved you wrong in your hometown. Now I'm going to do it all again in my hometown. And then Nia Jax just shows up and says, I dominated last night, but Sasha underperformed. And Sasha says, when I get my title back next week, I'll prove I'm the better woman when I get the belt back. And Charlotte's like, ooh, are you going to take that, Nia? Are you going to have a fight? And then, of course, they have a fight. It becomes a 2-on-1. And because they want Sasha to die, they cued Bayley's music late. So when she ran out, Sasha was falling on the floor. And cues us into a tag match. But yeah, it's just... I'm just fearing now that the title is going to change hands again on a Raw and then change again on a pay-per-view. Because let's be honest, Charlotte deserves a bloody break. Because she's been going non-stop for, what, nearly since the Divas Revolution as it was?
Yep.
Back in the day? She deserves some time to actually, not be in the title picture. I know they sort of don't need that because obviously, they've only got some limited people on the roster, and Dana Brooke, God. Yeah, well, Alicia's bad, but Alicia to Dana Brooke is like Citizen Kane to Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas.
Oh, God.
Or what's that other crap film that's been out this year?
Almost Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was going to think of the other one. Oh, what was the one that was your worst film of the year in the first half?
Norm of the North.
Dana is Norm of the North.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Compared to Alicia's Citizen Kane. Don't get me wrong. If you compare Alicia to everybody else, she's probably like I don't know, a Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice extended edition. Unnecessary, but yeah. Nego. So this goes into a tag match with heels versus face.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Chuck Taylor informing Biff Busick that he's killed his children and Swamp Monster did a double stomp and everything. It was a massacre. No clue what the fuck that is. But I like it.
Okay. Tag match. Not much to this. Unlike last night, there was a double team that actually worked. So at one point, Nia was going to double choke slam Sasha and Bailey. They hit a tandem snap suplex. Charlotte with a roll up. There's a kick out. Sasha rolls in, locks on the bank statement, and Charlotte taps out. Solid match for what it was. Again, not much to it. Thankfully, they could have easily made this Sasha Bailey and a partner against Charlotte, Nia, and Dana Brooke, but they didn't go that route. Even a handicap match they could have done, but no, they just went to a regular tag match. It was what it was. Ashley?
Yeah. It was okay, but it then leaves me a bit worried as well as to what's happened next week, because if we're going on the logic of whatever happens is not going to happen next week,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're not getting a title change.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to flip the title, to be honest. But, I mean, the title's losing a tad bit of credibility. Scott?
I don't think the title switches hands next week. I think it switches hands at Roadblock, but I don't think it's going to be Sasha, though. I think it's going to be Bailey.
I don't know. I don't know if they have that much confidence in her anymore like they should.
Yeah, that's true, too. I mean, it's only certain arenas that she gets the reaction that she gets, but I don't know. Maybe we see a double cross and Dana goes after the title.
They've set that up and they put it on the back burner.
Yeah, they did. So the match was good. I liked how it started at the top of the 10 o'clock hour, but cutting away and then going into commercial and then coming back with the match starting just didn't make sense to me. Like they've done some really weird commercials during this whole show that didn't make sense to me. But for what it was worth, it was a decent match. Nia needs to work on her promo skills. She can be a badass in the ring, but her promo skills are so written that you can clearly tell.
She's clearly a weak
She's
promo.
the biggest freaking woman. Huh?
She's a weak promo. She always has been.
So, I mean, seeing Nia, I think Nia, has a bright future in front of her, mainly because of The Rock. But, pushing up on the promo skills, learn some more moves and stuff. I think it was a little bit early for her to come up to the roster, but that's just my personal opinion.
No, you're right.
But she reminds me a lot like Kong, like the size-wise. But
She's
I don't.
very green. Very green.
Oh yeah, she is. Give her another year or two, you might see her surprise entrance in the Royal Rumble if she continues a badass streak and becomes even more badass. They've done it before with badass women, so
I
what
think
are
in
they
this
gonna?
day and age they won't do that. They won't do that again unless they're doing it as an homage to China.
Right. Well, it ain't gonna be even this Royal Rumble. It'll probably. I mean, they did it with Kong
Right.
because Kong had that big feud with Michael Cole. So I mean, maybe Nia gets a feud with like a male wrestler, that ones that's trying to hit on her, like Epico or Primo, whatever. Squash them during the Royal Rumble.
Wouldn't have a problem with that, but I don't think they're
No.
going to do men on women violence anytime soon.
You never know. I mean,
They won't even do a traditional mixed tag match. Once a guy gets tagged in,
The
doesn't
next
matter.
match is
Yeah.
Goldberg, and he gets obliterated.
but with it being so popular on the indie scene, I mean, I think WWE might try it eventually, but it's gonna be a while.
I don't think they'll do it.
Yeah,
They've
with the
been
PG rating, I mean,
Yeah, the rating is the issue.
but with Enzo walking around with a pixelated freaking cocksock on, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that was pointless.
How you doing?
Less said about that, the better.
Right. I mean, but who knows? I mean, Nia just needs a lot more work.
Oh yeah.
Bailey needs to get over more with the crowd, but she keeps on getting put into these predicaments that the crowd either cheers for Bailey or Sasha or Charlotte. So Bailey's always left in the dust. I think Bailey would have been a better fit on SmackDown, but I mean it's too late for that now, unless they do some sort of trade, or buy your contract out, or I don't know. I sure hope next year they don't reshuffle the freaking roster, have another draft, because that would just be stupid.
I don't think they will.
But okay, sorry, there we go.
Continue, Ashley.
Seth Rollins talking backstage. Ollie, da, 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 the great Caruso. And he basically said his title back. Enough said. So then, that purple tape at the ready. And this is a triple threat number one contenders match featuring Rich Swann, Noam Dar, Perkins, and they still his stage grab.
I did pay attention this time, Ash, and you're right. His pixelated image on the ramp is him holding the title.
Yeah.
It's weird to me.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think they use tape. I think they actually change out the ropes. All the ropes. They already have a set made with the color and the because if you look at the turnbuckle covers, they're also purple too. So everything's already done. They just take off the old ropes and then put the purple ones up.
Oh, I've seen it before. They definitely take the ropes down.
So yeah.
Okay.
And for someone that has taken ropes down before, as long as you have enough people, you can get it done in like
a huge match of a task.
Well, that's why between segments, between the cruiserweight matches, or this cruiserweight match and the main event, there was like a 5-minute gap.
Yep.
For setting up and taking down.
So this match was really short. Brian Kendrick on commentary. Right person went over here, honestly. I do think it's interesting that Noam Dar comes in using his Champagne Super Knee Bar, and now he's got to work with TJ Perkins, who also uses the Champagne Super Knee Bar. And while this is locked on, Rich Swann hits Rolling Thunder, and then a hook kick on Perkins and gets the win. So he will face the Brian Kendrick for the Cruiserweight Championship on the first showing of 205 Live now. Weirdly enough, Dar had to somewhat be like the de facto heel in this match. He showed more arrogance. He took the heat on both Swann and Perkins at times. It works. I mean, the match was fine. It's just the crowd just didn't care. Ashley?
Yeah, it was a good showcase of all three. They did well. Crowd were not going to be into it because they've been engineered into not giving a shit about the cruiserweight division.
Yep.
Which is a shame because they did deliver. It's just that's what the machine does to you.
Indeed.
The bastards.
And Scott?
It was what it was. What was really interesting to me is how Kendrick was on commentary and how this is my personal opinion. I don't think Corey Graves should be on Raw. He's way better at NXT. Maybe I just can't handle him for 3 hours.
It's better than Michael Cole.
That is true. Anyway, Kendrick on commentary was he was pretty good. They need to showcase the wrestlers a little bit more like that. Let their voices be heard and not be like taped. That's why I'm actually hoping that 205 does well to establish the cruiserweights more than what Raw is actually giving them. I wonder, are they going to still be showcased on Raw, or is it just going to be 205?
Both.
Okay.
SmackDown de facto.
Yeah, right.
And Raw.
So, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I just hope that 205 actually gives them a little bit more, they get to say a little bit more. Let their personality shine so that we can actually get behind them. I think that's the only problem that the audience is having is that we don't know much about these guys.
Exactly.
I mean, unless you followed them off beat, but yeah. So yep, that's my 2 cents.
And if a cruiserweight show was going to work, they would have done one with WCW. And WCW had one of the strongest cruiserweight divisions when it started out. And they never got a television series. So it's interesting to see what happens with 205.
And that's why the network works for WWE. They can try these things, and if it don't work, well. It's not a big loss to them. They already got the equipment and everything there. So what's another hour show?
Exactly.
Especially if you don't have to edit it. If you just throw it up live, then even better. So, yeah. I mean, here's a kind of like an off-topic thing, real quick. My buddy Brian and me, we always talk about the network and what they should really do with the network. And one of the biggest things that we've came up with is pretty much what 205 is gonna be, but a kind of like a throw off of like what Sunday Night Heat was, or the Superstars or whatever you want to say. Main event, but if they did a network show exclusive for the network and had a network title, where some of the lower tier guys that don't get screen time or TV time, can wrestle on a network show. Of course, that adds another probably hour of programming to our already absurd amount of freaking wrestling we watch a week. But that was the idea like a year ago that we had, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. That's like the secondary championship I have for singles in NXT. I've been thinking since day one there needs to be a secondary title, whether it's an internet championship, a legitimate one, not a Zack Ryder one, a legitimate one, or you do a television championship. I think there needs to be a secondary title. And not everybody is ready for competing for the heavyweight championship. So you need a title that's kind of in the middle. And it would be great to have like an underdog championship because they had the FCW title, the FCW 10 title, which was basically like a television title. And it was for not the people that were top on the card. It was kind of the mid card and the lower mid card competing for it. And I think that would be very beneficial to the brand right now.
I agree. I think they should have like even if NXT calls it the network title. I mean, because all their shows are on the network anyway, so it's kind of similar to like it would be in the same level of a TV title. So
Right.
I mean, yeah, that would. Well, I would think that would be great.
Indeed. And now we move to the main event, or is there's a promo before, wasn't there, Ashley?
Yeah, because Kevin says, Seth failed over and over again. Failed to win the belt against Bella. Failed to win it against me. And failed last night for the team. And the same will happen tonight.
Okay.
Was that great? Cardoso, Renee. And he's like, who the hell are you? And I wanted to kiss Kevin Owens then because God Almighty. So yeah, we move into main event. No DQ. Reigns and Jericho banned from the side of the ring as Owens defends against Rollins.
No surprise, this match was great. So we pick it up right before the commercial break. It takes us into the finish and the setup for it. So Rollins hits a sling blade. There's a double down. Owens charges in. Rollins low bridges him, hits the tope suicida, tosses him in, and a running for him in the corner. He Sabu style leaps off a chair that's set up next to the turnbuckle and hits a splash. He does the Raven drop toe hold into the chair, and we go to commercial break. When we come back, Owens misses the charge. Rollins with a running forearm in the corner, a running clothesline, and a leaping knee strike. Owens no sells, kicks him in the chest, and Rollins retaliates with a ghetto blaster. Heads up top of the frog splash, Owens out of the way. Chair set up on the face. Owens hits a cannonball in the corner, sending the chair into the face of Rollins, makes cover 1-2 and a kick out. So at this point, he sets up a power bomb between two stacked chairs. And of course, he gets backdropped onto the chairs. 1-2, and Owens kicks out. Seth pulls a table under the bottom rope and puts it in the ring, sets it up in the corner, hits the Avada Kedavra, gets a near fall off of that. Backdrop, Rollins lands on the ring apron, high kick. Owens ends up going for a superplex, gets blocked, and he slides to the legs, and Rollins with a release powerbomb through the table, and Owens kicks out right before 3. So they fight outside the ring. Owens clotheslined over the barricade, and they brawl in the crowd. Owens sets up a power bomb, and Rollins lands on a high rail, which is up in the cheap seats, and he dives off onto Owens. So out of nowhere, he sends Owens over the barricade, and then you see this guy wearing a Shinsuke Nakamura strong style hoodie, and ironically enough, a Mystico-inspired Sin Cara mask. And he pulls Rollins off the barricade. It was like Rollins was going for the knee strike off the barricade. So Owens watches this, and he basically watches as the mask gets ripped off. Of course, it's Chris Jericho, even though it was barred from ringside. Johnny Depp still can't stay away. So Owens hits a super kick, tosses him in the ring, but literally into the ring with the apron bomb. And then he rolls him into the ring and makes a cover 1, 2, and 3. Kevin Owens retains the Universal Championship with the help of the most ironic image of the night, Chris Jericho wearing a Sin Cara mask. Whoever came up with that idea, just brilliant.
Somehow I feel that Chris did that on purpose.
Guaranteed he did. I just think it's hilarious that I'm reading some of the responses here, and a lot of people are not acknowledging that it was a Sin Cara mask.
God damn it. Damn show.
So, yeah, that was a really well done, solid match. And it had everything you would want from a match. I don't understand why the first table spot was done on camera, but it was during the commercial break. The most safe version of the buckle bomb of all time, when the table was set up in the corner, broke perfectly. Early in the match, Owens set up the package sidewalk slam, and of course, getting a huge Fight Owens Fight chant in Canada, even though we're in Ontario and not Quebec, but that's okay. It's a solid way to end the show.
He's from Winnipeg, you asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Unless it's WCW and he's from Atlanta. But yeah, solid way to end the show. Owens is still champion. Life is good. And we see that it looks like he's going to be moving on to TLC. It's TLC, right? No, that's SmackDown. And Roadblock.
End of the line.
Roadblock against Roman Reigns, even though that's not been officially announced on television yet, but it's been announced at Console Energy's website. So it'll be announced on TV, I'm going to guess, within the next couple weeks.
Cyber Monday.
Yeah, that's my guess. But yeah, solid way to end the show. Somewhat woke me up, considering the fact that the rest of the show kind of been like put me in a lull.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts, Ashley?
Main event. Very strong main event, which to some extent delivered.
Right.
Well, last night delivered for all the and it was refreshing from overrun.
Right.
Considering how NXT overran. And now this overran, and of course last night underran.
Yes.
So yeah. Roll on SmackDown to work out what the shit's going on for that brand, because we're only 2 weeks away from TLC.
This is true. And Scott, you get the last word.
I thought it was well executed. I texted Owen during the match. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Triple H is going to show up. That was the. I mean, at least I had half of it right. Somebody showed up, but not Triple H. And then I was going to text you again and go like, oh, if they pull a sledgehammer out, if Rollins pulls a sledgehammer out, that's a true calling to Triple H, you know. But I deleted it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go 0-2 tonight. Yeah, it delivered. It was really good. Like I said earlier about the commercial breaks, they just fell in the wrong times. Like
they always do.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like they squeezed in one more commercial break before the end of the show. Like I looked at the time, it was like 10:56. I'm like, what the hell are they doing a freaking commercial break at this time? Doesn't make sense. The show's supposed to end in like 7 minutes or 10 or less than 10 minutes. I'm like, that's not right. Obviously, then that pointed to, well, they're going to do an overrun. So,
right.
But yeah, Owens retains by, Chris Jericho just, being there for his best friend. which was the story of the night.
no.
And
No, we've got one tweet that confirms the rumors. Triple H got plastic surgery to look like Chris Jericho tonight.
there you go. So, I mean, maybe if they're gonna pull the trigger again for Roadblock, which I don't think they're going to, I think I'm gonna go with what you guys are saying about Roman Reigns. Maybe Triple H screws Roman Reigns. It sets up, kind of like a triangle feud. A triangle feud. Like, who's gonna take on Triple H at WrestleMania? So, I mean, because obviously he's out to screw, Seth. So, and he's already screwed Roman. So why don't screw Roman again?
Breaking news from CM Punk.
He's
just tweeted, Nazis are pussies. Cool.
Shout out to Jericho's thrill seeker partner, Lance Storm. He says, Jericho jumping a dude with a sucker punch while wearing a Sin Cara mask.
Mm-hmm.
And the eyes and the crying emoji. Yeah, this was great, without a doubt. I love Jericho wearing the Sin Cara mask. That was amazing. It's a little thing sometimes that some people just might gloss over, but it made me laugh hysterically when I saw him wear a Sin Cara mask. Solid match, though. Very solid match. And we move on to see what the next direction is. SmackDown, a little bit less known here. The only thing we know about SmackDown is we're building towards AJ and Ambrose TLC in a TLC match. And another thing is Daniel Bryan is going to address what what Baron Corbin did on at Survivor Series. That's really all we know.
And an update on Shane, probably.
We're definitely getting an update on Shane. He was shaken up, but he was okay. But yeah, I think that's our show. Real quick, we want to thank Travis for joining us. He had to bomb out early, but he was very much appreciated his commentary for tonight's show. You can follow him on Twitter at Travis Coaster, and you can check out his Coaster Casters podcast, link in the description bar below. And Cleveland wasn't on the night either, but he'll be coming back soon. It's at Contro Cleve on Twitter. Cleveland Henry on YouTube. Check that out. Will, same thing, at HHNDog, DAWG. And his link to his channel is in the bottom below. And Scott?
You find me on Twitter at Great Traveling Scott, GR8, TRAVONSCOTT. I do have a Facebook page out there. Go find it. It only has one like, and that's me. That's sad. Very sad. But I'm not even building it right now because there's so much more to come, and there's a lot of stuff that's about to happen, and I'm pretty excited. So.
Oh yeah. Indeed. And Ashley, where can people find you on social media?
Find me on Twitter. Check out a whole load of other podcasts like this over at snsradionetwork.com. Whole heaps of archives for you to check out there. Moments that go even crazier than us. Game with Ash will be on over the next day or two. I think I'm going to be. I was going to film it after this, but I think I'm going to get an early night because I've got a long day tomorrow, and then shoot it after I get back from my Fantastic Beasts / Fantasy 15 weird odd thing that's going on. And yeah, we're gearing towards the Game Awards. I might be doing this video, perhaps not live sort of blogging my reactions, but probably like instant reactions afterwards. So that'll be pretty much the week after Thanksgiving. It's going to be December the 1st. So to that. Also, another earthquake off the coast of Fukushima. A warning. Give. I'm not sure exactly where the where Ishikawa is, which is where New Japan's World Tag League show is happening later today. I hope everybody out there stays safe. And yeah, I'll speak to you all Wednesday, I guess.
All right.
When we review everything and nothing and something in between.
Indeed. Wednesday Wrestling Podcast tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We're going to be talking NXT. We're going to talk Ring of Honor. We're talking Lucha Underground, Impact Wrestling, 205 Live. Will be talked about on the Wednesday show, obviously, because it's going after SmackDown. So if you were curious when that was going to be talked about, we're going to be able to get it every single week on the Wednesday show. We got New Japan is going to be talked about. There's a lot of things going on in the wrestling business. ICW. So a lot of really cool things going on with ICW right now. Some big stuff going on with WWN Live, and congratulations to Gabe Sapolsky taking over the book for FIP. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. And
yeah, he doesn't mention Ring of Honor.
And once again, like we mentioned before, two new world television champions crowned in Ring of Honor over the weekend in the UK tour. So we'll get to that. And What Culture Pro Wrestling, all that and more tomorrow night at 9 p.m. on the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. Thursday, like I said, it's Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So yeah, that'll be fun. Friday, Black Friday. Once you get your shopping done, sit back, relax, and enjoy the elite of the Popcast Network, bringing you our final Halloween Horror Nights 26 podcast. Meet the new blood on the network at 9 p.m. We're going to talk all about HHN 26 and HHN 27. So we're going to welcome a lot of new people to the network. So if you've been following along for the longest time, then a lot of names, if you've been in our chat room, we're going to look a little familiar. You're finally going to put a voice to the type, finally. So that's coming your way on Friday. And once again, a lot of cool things coming on the network, a lot of big things coming for Popcast Network, so stay tuned for that. So in the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Throw and Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Zazzle store. Merchandise available at Popcast Network and our Facebook fan page. Give us a like if you like what you're hearing. Popcast Network. Check out the archives of last week's Raw, last week's Wednesday Wrestling Podcast, Survivor Series, and NXT TakeOver Toronto, and all the other segments here on the network. Sip and Snack will be returning in the near future. Versus is going to be fun. AJ's movie reviews. We're going to be talking about the new releases of the week, Moana and Bad Santa 2, as well as Allied. We're going to be seeing Moonlight soon. We're going to have a review of that with Loving. And AJ and I are going to go see Breakfast at Tiffany's this coming weekend. So that's going to be super cool. So looking forward to that. So in the meantime, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you have chosen a podcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.